Hey guys, let's just jump right into these amazing pumpkin pancakes, which are the first recipe, and everything will of course be listed down below, but I just add some oats, and this is my favorite gluten-free flour. It is based on chickpeas and some other kinds of flours as well, so I add those to my blender cup with a 1/4 of a cup of pumpkin puree and then 2 small tablespoons of maple syrup. You can add however much you want. Of course, I add some cinnamon and some baking powder. I will have the more exact measurements down below, and some vanilla powder as well. And then I add in my favorite plant milk, which is almond milk, and also I add in a little bit of water to get the right consistency as well. And then that is all. I just blend that up and then I let that sit to set a little bit while I heat my stove to like medium high heat. And then I just spread the pancakes out. The batter is kind of thick, so I like to just spread it out with the dispenser measuring cup thing that I used. And then I let that cook for a while and then turn them, and I top mine with some coconut yogurt, which I've been loving doing, and of course a little drizzle of maple syrup on top as well. I feel like it's kind of a fall flavor, so it goes really well. And then I just added some crushed nuts. I think these were almonds and cashews, but pecans would be perfect as well. And then I topped it off with a fig, and these were so tasty. The base is kind of the same as some pancakes that I've shown before, but the pumpkin puree and the cinnamon makes them really fall appropriate and delicious. The next one are these berry squares, which are so yummy. I hope you will try these out. So for the base, I just mashed a banana completely until I have like a mush, like baby food almost. And then I added in 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. You don't have to melt it, you can if you want to. And then I added date syrup, but you can use maple syrup as well. Of course, some cinnamon, you will see that as a reoccurring thing in this video, and some baking powder, some vanilla powder and some salt. Mix that together, added in the oats, and then mixed everything together until everything was well combined. And then I just found a baking safe tray kind of thing and just put the mixture in there with some baking paper, and then spread that all evenly out and bake that in the oven. And meanwhile I made the filling, and first of all I just chopped up the almonds really finely, or not really finely, roughly actually. And then I used some frozen berries. I used raspberries, blueberries and some red currants, and I added some oats in there as well, and about 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. This is optional, but I like adding them. You can if you want to. And then some more date syrup, about 2 tablespoons, but you can use again maple syrup or whatever liquid sweetener you prefer. Also about 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and then here it goes, some more cinnamon. And then I added in the nuts at last, and then just mix that all together. Oh yeah, I decided to add some cacao nibs as well, which I didn't plan on, but it was really tasty and kind of a nice different taste in there as well. So then once the base had been baking for a while, I added the toppings, pressed that down a little bit to make it more compact, and then put that back in the oven and let that cook a little bit more. Once it was done, I didn't wait quite long enough to cut it, which usually happens because I just want to eat it, but you can just cut it into squares. The longer you wait, the easier it will be and it won't fall apart. But this is so good, and it's just an amazing combination of flavors, so I highly recommend this as well. Surprise! And then finally we have this apple pie quinoa porridge, which is super tasty. I'm using regular quinoa for this, but if you have quinoa flakes, that is amazing as well. I've made it with both. I probably kind of prefer the quinoa flakes, to be honest, but yeah, you can use whatever. So I just added some vanilla and some chia seeds to this, and then just mix that around and put that on a medium heat on the stove. And then meanwhile, while that was heating up, I just chopped up some apples just into kind of roughly bite-sized pieces. I don't know, whatever you prefer. Some more cinnamon, of course. And then I also added a little bit of nutmeg to this, which was delicious, and a slight drizzle of maple syrup, which is amazing as well. I also added a tiny bit of water to the bottom of the pan just to make sure that it didn't burn and that it kind of distributed the flavors equally. And then once the quinoa is done cooking, I just added that to a bowl, added the apples on top, The apples are essential here. The quinoa part without the apples is not that good, but the combination altogether is just amazing. So I just top that with some chocolate, cacao nibs, some goji berries, and a little bit of hemp seeds as well. But what you want to top it with, or if you don't want to top it with anything, that is totally up to you. And this is just the perfect fall encompassed breakfast. It's super delicious.